Hi guys, Zach here with another Command & Conquer Red Alert video. In this video, it's going to be a best of 5 match against a player called Killaflow. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do highlights of the first 2 games and then do the full last 3 games. It was just the games were quite similar. There wasn't that much variety, so I thought 5 would be a bit too much. Now, this first game was on Super Meong, and basically I just did my normal start. I started getting out medium tanks, went double war factory, got a radar dome, which some of you'll absolutely love, and then I took my tanks up to near the top because there's a gap near the top where the tanks come through. You can see Killaflow was going there. Later on, I built a service depot and just decided to go for a MCV because it was not looking too bad up here. And this was just then we just had a fight around that gap area. And then we continued to fight. He pushed me back a little bit off the gap, and you could see his heavy tanks just moving downwards there as reinforcements came in for both of our teams. And it was at this point where my tank numbers dropped off. And it went downhill from there. I think the thing is it was a bad strategy on my part. I don't know what I was thinking really, just going double war factory and leaving it at that. Also building MCV. I just had way too few tank numbers and it was inevitable I was going to get beat if I played it like that. So that was like a bit of a poor match for me to start off with. The next game we did was Arena Valley Extreme. So in that match, what I did is I just started off with light tanks. Usually I start with light and then I'm going to go to mediums. You can see me a bit queuing mediums there after I've built my first few light tanks. And then I just went down and went on the attack. You can see there Killaflow in the plane as the Cyan. So yeah, there's a... And we had a fight around this gap. You can see in the for the bottom right. By the way, we were in random positions. I didn't choose to start in the middle left, but yeah, we had a little bit of a fight around here. He did push me back near my base, but as soon as I got near my base, then I started to get the better tank numbers. I think what had happened probably is the middle left is quite hard to start with initially, but then when you get further towards the middle, you start getting more resources, and from then on I just managed to push it back once I had the better tank numbers, and then it was pretty much game over. Even though you could got a Tesla out, but individual Teslas aren't too efficient, especially when I've got the tank advantage that I have. So I think as I got further to the middle and got more harvesters, I had better production, and it basically steamrolled from there. So all in all, after 2 games, we were 1-1. And the next game was on Rivers Wild, and now we're going to be doing the full games. So I was starting in the top middle. We did choose random positions, and we had free pick of which nation we were going to choose. And you can see what I'm going to do is the top middle is a pretty decent position. What you do is you have an ore and gem patch to the right of you. You've also got some gem patches, one to the left and one to the bottom right if I want to expand down there, so I will be needing to utilise that. And first of all, I'm going to be sending infantry in all directions. I don't know where Killaflow is, but usually what happens if you have 2 people in a game, usually they spawn at other sides of the map, so I wouldn't expect him to be right next to me. I hope he's not, else that's going to change things a little bit. And there I'm just building a ore refinery followed by an ore silo. I use that ore silo because I'm going to be mining some gems, so I don't want to waste any resources. And ore silos are pretty quick to produce. It's doesn't take long at all. Just producing a few more infantry there just to make sure I have all my points guarded. I don't want Killaflow to be able to see what's going on inside my base. And yeah, the main thing is just get as much map vision as I can as well. And there I've got my first war factory, and for my first war factory he's playing the Soviets, so I'm going for quite an economical start. I am going to produce 2 ore trucks before I produce any tanks, and I do think I will have time to do that. If I was playing an allied player who was quite aggressive, then I'd only go for 1 ore truck and start producing tanks from there. And yeah, I just keep on producing infantry, actually realising I need to get more visibility and more space. And there you can see the Cyan infantry from Killaflow trying to get into my base, but I've got it guarded, so he's not going to be able to get in. And there I'm going to need to cross the gap. First, what I'm going to need to do though is get a bit more power, because I am low on that currently. And you'll see I'll use all silos just to cross that gap. And the reason I want to cross that gap is on the other side, there's going to be a gem patch, which is going to give me a good boost in economy for a short period of time while I mine those gems. And yeah, we actually got some visibility. We've got some good visibility on Killaflow's base. So what's happened is he's been late with those scouts. Now, it was probably one of the first scouts that I sent out, and they managed to get past before he got those scouts in place, because you can see the path I took, because you can see what's visible. He does have infantry there, so a bit slow there, and I managed to see where his base is, and it's just going to be straight down the map, nice and simple. And now I'm just putting that ore refinery there, and that's going to give me a good boost in economy for the short term. And what I'm going to do now is, because I'm going to be mining those pure gems, is I'm going to go for that third war factory. And I'm just having a bit of a look there, and I see some movement from Killaflow's infantry, which means he might be on the move. And yeah, I can see that infantry going up to my base, so I want to see where his tanks are or where the movement's occurring. I'm just going to probably go straight down, and I could see some tanks there in his base, so I think he's getting prepared. Yeah, we can see those heavy tanks there, so I know he's not doing a sneak attack from somewhere else. And when you're fighting the Soviets, you don't want to leave them for too long, because what can happen is they can go multi-MCV and build Tesla coils really, really quickly, so you do have to be careful. And now I'm just getting another ore truck out while I build my third, since I built my third war factory, just so I can keep up the production speed. And now the first battle is against Killaflow's heavy tanks, and you can see we've got about even numbers. And this, I think the fight's out of my favour, actually, because he's got about the same number of heavy tanks, but I'm using light and medium tanks, which are a bit weaker, so I might need to pull back. He's also got quite a few infantry there helping him, so I do need to be careful. I don't want to lose my mass at this stage. And now we can see Killaflow pulling a bit back to his base, and the key is just to keep on moving. I have got 3 war factories. It might be sooner than he has, and that would mean I get more reinforcements. And now the fight looks to be like going in my favour, and he's only got 3 tanks, and now is the time to try and push him back to his base. And we don't know why he might have a reduction in tanks, but now he seems to be getting more tanks in. He's probably building ore refineries, or he could even be building an MCV. We don't know at this point, but now we're going to keep on fighting around this gap, and it's looking decent. It's not looking bad at all. I think we are getting the better trades here. He's only got 2 tanks, and when you have this like tank advantage, what tends to happen is the other team don't like trade tank for tank. I'll destroy like 2 tanks, he'll only destroy 1, so it's really important that we keep this tank mass. And now it looks like we're going to go into his base. And let's see, what does Killaflow have anything he can respond with? He seems to be getting some heavy tanks, and his tank numbers seem to be increasing a little bit now. I'm just going to destroy that ore refinery, and now the fight is going to continue, but I'm going to just pull back a little bit. Just make sure I don't get too far into his base and overextend myself. And you can see that Killaflow's got a Tesla coil, so that's probably a good move at this position, because he's got the fewer tanks and he just needs that extra bit of protection. And if I try and dive in now, I'll have to fight the Tesla along with his tanks, and tanks and Tesla are a very hard combination to beat. So I'm just pulling back, trying to keep engaged though, and keep his tank numbers low.
Construction complete.
And yeah, you can see that ore patch is starting to dwindle down. But what we're going to need to think about if this game takes a long time is how we're going to expand to other ore patches. And now you can see that Killaflow seems to be getting the upper hand with his heavy tanks. So it did look like it was in my favour, but now Killaflow definitely has the better tank numbers. And yeah, it seems I've actually left some there. But we're going to pull back now, regroup and recommence. And that's what you need to do in these situations. Just get back and just try and get your tank numbers up, because now Killaflow's got the advantage for the time being. But you can see I've got a lot of tanks coming down here, and once I regroup, I should have a very good army able to counteract whatever Killaflow has. So let's see, is Killaflow going to try and go through that bottleneck? Yes, he does. And now the fight's taking place. It looks like I've got slightly better tank numbers, and some of those tanks do look on low HP for Killaflow. And now he's in a little bit of trouble. He's got too few tanks, and I'll be getting the better trades from now on. And now Killaflow is on the retreat. So now it's back in my favour. And now going down the map, we can see him retreating back to that position where he was before. And I'm just streaming my reinforcements in. And what I'm going to need to do is start thinking about the future, because that ore patch is not going to last forever. And I do need to really get expanding to other ore patches so I don't run out. Because sometimes what can happen is everything's going great, and then suddenly you run out of ore, and then in a minute's time, you're wondering where all these tank numbers are. And now you can see Killaflow, he seems to be stalling for time a little bit, and you can see I've got a really good army for the time being. And now I'm going to push to the left, and we can see Killaflow's in a similar situation to me. He's running out of ore. So we'll have to just see what he decides to do at this point. You can see those tanks certainly seem to be going somewhere. And now we're recommencing. You can see Killaflow getting an extra Tesla coil. It depends. Do I have good enough tank numbers to win this fight? So I'm going to push in. And I probably need to get rid of that Tesla coil pretty quickly, because he's got a couple there, and they do mega damage if you leave them standing for long periods of time. And now we're taking that other Tesla coil. But he gets another Tesla coil again. And I'm just taking out one of those ore refineries, and I'm going to pull back, because if I keep on pushing in, I could find my tank mass starts to decrease rapidly. And now I'm going to get that ore refinery on that gem patch. It's only a small patch, but it'll give me a good boost, because you can see I'm struggling a little bit for ore right at the moment, and I just need a bit of time to expand as well. Because what I'm looking at is I'm looking at that ore and gem patch to the right, which you could see I was hovering over for a second, but I need to recommence in this fight. You can see Killaflow now trying to push. We've got about equalish tank numbers. I'd say I'd have slightly more, and you can see some of his tanks are on low HP, but I keep on needing to try and expand and just bring my tank force in. And that's the thing, you need to keep on expanding even when you're fighting. And we can see some of those heavy tanks are on very low HP now, and we should be able to clear them up pretty easily. Yeah, I've definitely got the better tank mass at this moment in time. I will just clear those up, and then I'm going to try and expand to this next ore patch. I'm almost there, and you can see my ore's actually starting to stack up at this point. I don't know if I was stopped building for a second there. But I do need to be very, very careful, because soon those ore patches ran out. And now I've seen that Killaflow has got an extra MCV, so I'm going to need to go straight for that MCV, and that's the importance of having map visibility, so you can see what your other opponent's doing. And now we're going to go and try and destroy that, because if what we want to stop is him getting on that extra M patch. You can see him deploying that ore refinery, and now we're going to destroy that, and we're going to destroy his ore refinery, so he's going to be long distance mining, and then his ore truck will start going back to his main base. So we managed to destroy that there, and that could be a game winning move. And you can see now his heavy tanks on the retreat, and I've been able to expand to this next ore patch. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to build an extra war factory, because it's looking quite good. And you can see now Killaflow is trying to go up with his heavy tanks to my base. And what I'll probably do is I don't know actually, because I don't know if he's got other bases around the map. And that's the thing. So I'm going to take this MCV right away, and then go into his base, just in case he's got other MCVs elsewhere, and then my MCV will be a bit hidden. You can see he's got quite a few Tesla in his base now, and I'm going to just take out those and then start destroying his buildings. And you can see he's got 3 war factories, as I would expect. You're always going to go for 3 war factories on a map like this, and then go to a 4th and 5th if you can, if you get enough map control. And you can see how many ore trucks he's got, but and those ore trucks look to be stopped moving, so it looks like we've got his main base. And you can see he's actually got another MCV in here, so he's been building that, having that faster building speed for quite a while. And what I think might have happened is early on he seemed to have the better tank numbers, and then that advantage seemed to disappear. So it could have been that he actually built an MCV quite early on and had that double building speed from a early time, and now we're getting rid of those buildings. I will see, and that is good game. So that was his last building, and that's now 2-1 to me as the best of 5 goes, and this is the next match on Potholes, where I'm playing as the Soviets and Killaflow is playing as the Allies. And the map Potholes is quite different from the map we've just played on. It does have just ore only, so it'll be a bit of a harder to get started up. We'll have to focus more on economy, and now I'm just sending my infantry out and doing the scouting as I did last time. I'm not going to go for any grenadier rushes or anything like that. I'm just going to try and get as much of the map uncovered. One of the things about Potholes is it's got a lot of bottlenecks all around the map, and that makes it a little bit easier to defend. Sometimes, if you get base defences on one of the sides of the bottlenecks, sometimes that can be very hard to break through. Of course, tank numbers are going to be very, very important in this game though. And now I'm just got that first ore refinery on that first ore patch, and I make a bit of a mistake here. I shouldn't have built a ore silo. It's just because I've been playing on maps with gems, because it's ore only. I'm not going to be getting the excess ore that I might do on other maps. So that was just a slight mistake for me, although it doesn't cost me much in terms of time and resources. And just having a bit of a look around the map, just to find out where Killaflow is. I'm starting in like the middle left position, so I have got good resources in the compartments above and below me, so I will be hoping to expand to those places on the map. And I've got my first war factory down. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for 2 ore trucks, and I'm going to try and expand upwards at this point and get into the next ore patch, because what I want to make sure is I have plenty ore for the long term. It's fine like going off one resource patch short term, because that gives you loads of resources, but what I'd find out is later on I'd be really struggling, so that's why I try and spread out my ore trucks and ore refineries over the different ore patches. Now it will cost me a little bit of time at this point in the game, but it will be worth it if the game does go on for any amount of time. And now I'm just trying to have a look and find out where Killaflow is, and I haven't seen any of his troops, his infantrymen there, and now I've got that second ore truck out. I'm going to send it to that ore patch which I've just expanded to, and now I'm going to build my second war factory, and I can see there Killaflow looks like he's in the top right position, and I do have quite good map visibility. I've got quite a lot of it uncovered, and we see some of those one of those infantry moving. It doesn't look like it's his whole force, so he's probably just doing a little bit of scouting, and I'll try and cut him off there so he doesn't get map vision, and you can see him blocking that top bit of ore. And he'll know about where I am at this point in the game. And now I'm going to go for that next ore patch, which is, you can see to the left there. And still, even though it's an ore only map, you are still working towards that third war factory as soon as possible. And I'm just having a quick look around because I do expect Killaflow will be expanding. Now, one of the things about the top right position is it's a great starting position for early game, but it's quite hard to expand out of. So we'll have to see, does he go for an extra MCV or does he go for mass ore trucks and try and like mine his way out? We'll have to see what he decides to do there. But now I'm starting to get my heavy tanks and sending them towards the middle of the map. And we'll have to see what Killaflow has got at this point. I can't see any sign of tanks, but now Killaflow responding. He seems to be grouping his troops together. I could see his infantry moving back there. And we can see he's got some more trucks there. So the question is, where do I go? Do I go to the top and try and go through there? Or do I go through the centre there? We can see he's got some light tanks and they seem to be coming now. And now I'm going to try and defend against this. But you can see those light tanks seem to be going past me, and now he's grouping them together and ready for a fight. And he's got the better number of light tanks, but those light tanks are a little bit weaker. And now let's see how this goes. You can see us taking out some of those light tanks initially, and I'm just going to pull back and make sure I get grouped together. I've now got my third war factory, because you can see my resources are stacking up pretty well. And let's see how this fight goes. A couple of those on quite low HP now. Just try and take out them. It's just trying to take out the stationary ones as I move around, and now I'm just trying to expand my base out a little bit more. I will need to just keep on building even though I'm in the middle of this fight, and now he seems to be getting the better tank numbers, and I might have to pull back a little bit. Because you can see, though, even though they're like weaker, he's got better numbers, and now the numbers seem to be in my favour, and it's just about keeping on moving, keeping on using Q move which is where you hold down Q while you're fighting. It allows your tanks to keep on fighting and firing even when you're moving around. And now you can see he's got his medium tanks there as well, and we'll have to see what he decides to do. I think he was going to try and go over the top there if I let him, so I've just came in and fight, and now we've got rid of those light tanks, and now it's just going to be heavies against mediums. Mediums don't do like much more damage. Well, they do about a very similar damage to the light tanks. I think the light tanks actually fire a little bit faster, so they can do more damage over a period of time, but medium tanks have a lot more HP, so they're going to be a bit harder to destroy, but obviously I'm using heavy tanks which have more HP than that, and let's see how this goes now. It's just a case of micro-nose tanks, moving them around as much as we can, and we're just getting rid of those 2 medium tanks there which are on low HP, and just keeping on moving around and keeping on expanding all at the same time. And the thing is, it's just about not keeping your tank stationary for too long, so when you go to construct buildings, you have to do it as fast as possible and get back to the battle as quickly as possible. Otherwise, you could come back and see your armies being decimated, and now those medium tanks on the retreat, and Killaflow, I think, going back to his base for the time being. And I just have to have a look, where do I want to go? Do I want to expand to the right there, go for his ore trucks? It seems like that ore patch is starting to run out a little bit, but now he's coming back through with medium tanks, and it looks like he's going to go for my base rather than just take a fight. So I'm going to need to pull back a little bit, getting a bit of the surround on here. And yeah, I've still got reinforcements coming in, so I'm okay, but I'm looking like my number of tanks is starting to decrease a little bit, so I'm just going to get this extra ore refinery down. And yeah, you can see I might have spent a little too long there, because you can see I'm losing a few tanks, and now I'm going to have to try and restabilize and just try and fight this out. But you can see now it looks like Killaflow has the better medium tank numbers, and I could be in a little bit of trouble because I seem to be getting cleaned up a little bit, and this is not good at all for me at the moment. I'm going to try and sort of like pull back into my base, but you can see it's just following me quite well here, and now I'm just trying to get my medium heavy tanks out of there, back into my base, but you can see some of my heavy tanks are getting a bit stuck, and this has been absolutely disastrous for me, that little point there. Hopefully we can defend this bottleneck though. Let's see if we can stop his medium tanks from getting through. Because sometimes it's quite useful when you're fighting a bottleneck. I'm just going to have to clear those up while keeping my other tanks at the other bottleneck. And now you can see he's trying to get through the other position, so I'm going to need to move my tanks up to this top point. And now he's going for that ore refinery, and that's going to be a bit problematic, and it looks like the ore refinery is going to go down, and that means that ore truck is going to be long distance mining, and now he's starting to take out some of our power plants. Thankfully though, I do have a lot of power, because when you get low on power, what that does is it starts to decrease your building speed. But now it looks like he's going to go for an ore refinery. I was wondering if he's going to go for the war factory there, so I'm just going to build another ore refinery there. And you can see my reserves are pretty low at the moment. I do have quite a fast building speed though. I do have 4 war factories on the go, but my economy is starting to get taken out. So what I need to try and do at the moment really is just try and destroy as many of these tanks, and then hopefully be able to get the counter-attack in. And in hindsight, I don't really know I was building that flame tower, because it's not going to do that much against this sort of tank numbers. But now it's time for me to try and go on the counter and see if I can do any damage. You can see those medium tanks coming from the top there. And the problem is my resources are just so low now. It's very hard to build any extras, and I'm sort of going to have to just go for a dive. The problem is okay, I'm going to be getting the better trades for now with tank numbers, but he's going to be able to replace those tanks much more quickly, and you can see him getting those tanks grouped together in the middle there. And yeah, sort of defending the bottleneck, sort of what happened earlier with me. I'm going to try and maybe push through the top, because I've got decent tank numbers there, and I've obviously got the better tank numbers, so I'm going to try and go up the top. And you can see him sort of like bringing his tanks back, and because of the like routing in this, it's quite hard to get a good like route. But now we're going to try and fight at this top part, and I've probably left it too long, because I think his tanks are going to be in yeah, he's going to probably have too many now. And yeah, my tank advantage is gone, and because my economy is weakened, that means that he's going to have a big advantage. So we're trying to fight it out here. Now, what I need to hope for now, he hasn't been able to expand his base to any other ore patches, because he might be running quite low on ore, and his economy might be in quite a bad position. But I am in a very bad position now. You can see my tank mass is almost gone, and he's now probably got the superior tank numbers, and his base has been untouched, which is obviously very, very bad news for me. We'll just take out those 2 low HP tanks and that 3rd one, but now, yeah, you can see it's not looking too good, because what's happening is you can see his tanks have been replaced much faster than my own, and he's definitely got the tank advantage for now. I've got a couple of low HP tanks there that he's taken out, and I am trying to establish my economy, but you can see his medium tanks coming down there, much better resources. And what I'm going to need to do is I'm just going to need to go for the dive on his base, because I do know that he does have I don't know if he's been able to expand out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just move that MCV to the bottom, but you can see he's going for the follow now, and we can see his tank numbers are much, much greater than my own. And yeah, I'm trying to take him out. He's decided to go for the defence. And that's the thing about Potholes. It's a lot easier to defend because of the bottlenecks compared to other maps. And I'm just building this here. And I'm going to try and build some economy down in the bottom part of the map. And now we're going back for the fight here in the middle. But this time, Killaflow has the better numbers. And yeah, I'm not sure what to do here, because I don't think there's any way out of this. I mean, I can go back to this bottleneck, but then he's going to go over the top part. I don't know if I've lost a ore refinery there. So yeah, you can see him coming back. I'm going to try and defend this bottleneck, but we'll have to see how that goes. And yeah, as expected, you can see he's going for the top part. He's not going to go into this little gap here, because that would... but what I'm going to do is when he tries to go up there, I'm going to try and go along the bottom. But you can see he's immediately going back to defend that position. And now he's got enough forces to send one group to defend and one group to attack. So that's pretty much the nail in the coffin there. And I'm still going to try and go up right to the top where he's not defending, hopefully. But yeah, you can see he's got his medium tanks there inside my base, and he'll be destroying my war factories. So I'm going to try and get up into his base right now, and let's see how this goes. We managed to get a few tanks past his defences, but I'm sure he'll be taking some tanks back. And you can see he's got a load of tanks in his base as well, so there's no way I'm getting into there really and doing much damage there. So yeah, it was just basically that when he got into my base a bit earlier, and once he managed to destroy that ore refinery and get a couple of those ore refineries down, I had the better tank numbers after that, but then it took too long for me to be able to get back, and I wasn't able to get back on terms, and that's what happened there. I'm wondering now what I should have done. Maybe it would have been better to expand downwards. Maybe I would have been able to defend a little bit better. Possibly I could have even gone for a cheeky early MCV or something like that. If he wasn't aggressive, then that would have paid off later on. But that's hindsight for you. You never know what will work at the time. And that is pretty much a good game. So I'll just set up that. So what that means is that now we're equal on games. So we're 2-2 now overall. And we're going to have the final game in a moment. And that was the end of that, so that's just the stats from this game. Now, the next game is on the map Innocents. And I've started in the middle right position. I think that's a pretty good position to start in, actually, for this game, especially in a free-for-all. I mean, people say the bottom right's the best, but I guess in a 1v1, from the middle right, you have access to those 3 big ore patches in the middle. So in a 1v1, that's pretty strong, I would think. And now I'm just going to, as always, just get out those infantry. I am playing Soviets again, and Killaflow is playing as the Allies. And this time, this is sort of like the decider, I guess. It wasn't actually a best of 5. We didn't decide to do that. We just decided to end after this game, but it was 5 matches. Now, I'm just going to put those infantry at those gaps. And this, I'd say this map's a little bit more open. It does have its bottlenecks here and there, but it is more open than Potholes, certainly. It's not split into small compartments. And I do imagine a lot of the fighting possibly will take place around this middle part, which is where I'm going to try and have my base as well. I'm going to need to get infantry up there as well, just to defend there. And you can see just trying to get map visibility at the moment. I know he's going to be somewhere on the left. As you can see, all my infantry go in that direction. I'll be screwed if he's behind me. But yeah, usually, as I say, when you have 1v1s, usually people spawn at other sides of the map. And now I'm just trying to expand to that next ore patch, which is in the middle. And there he's got an infantry through. So I've been a bit careless there. I haven't defended with the scouts as well as I could have. And that's sort of what happened, I guess. Yeah, I guess there's a little passage to the right of that. And that's probably where he got through. And that's the thing that sometimes happens. We saw it happen in one of the first games when I played on Rivers Wild. I did manage to get infantry into his base. He didn't get that much visibility though, because we were able to cover it off quite quickly. But you can see that's probably the gap where we got through. And now we're getting our second ore refinery down. So we're going for a similar build order than we did last time. However, the ore patches are a little bit more favourable where they're placed, so we haven't had to do as much base crawling, which will help with our tank numbers early on, because we won't have to build as many extra power plants, any extra ore silos, anything like that. And I didn't build the extra ore silo this time. I'm just going to sell that barracks off because I'm not going to be needing it any further. And just having a bit of a look around now, see what's going on. I'm going to start expanding towards that ore patch to my left. And there I've got my second war factory out now, so I'll be able to get double building speed on tanks. And I'm just doing a little bit of a base crawl there and going to get on that next ore patch. And then I'm going to be able to start thinking about my third war factory. And just having a bit of a look at the top compartment. I think that Killaflow, judging where his infantry are, is in the top left position. Yeah, I think that's the only place he could be, really. Yeah, we can see he's got infantry all over there, guarding it. And there's another infantry trying to go through that patch, which he tried to the other time. And now it's going to take some of our tanks up into this middle, top middle position, which will be next to his base, sort of. And now I've got that next ore refinery placed on that left ore patch. And now we can see Killaflow going in with the light tanks. And I'm right there to cover him off straight away. And we're just going to see, is he going to just build up on that other side of that bottleneck? Or is he going to try and go through a different point? And the thing is, if he does try and go through a different point, I can always bring my heavy tanks through, but getting a bit of damage there, unfortunately. But now he's got some of his light tanks through there. And now it's the first fight is commencing. You can see he's having a little bit of trouble with the tracking. I have got my third war factory down, but I'm going to have to build an ore truck from that just to make sure I can keep up my building speed, although it will reduce my tanks temporarily. And now let's see how this fight goes. You can see him also already transitioning on to medium tanks, but he's got that light tank mass early on. And I always go for the light tanks first because they have low HP, but do about the same damage as the medium tanks. And you can see there, our tank masses, he's probably got slightly more at the moment, but I'm going to have to rely on that third early war factory. Hopefully that will be giving me the boost I need. And now the tank numbers are starting to look a little bit better for me. It looks like I'm maybe able to get the upper hand here, because those medium tanks are starting to go down and these heavy tanks are stronger. And now you can see Killaflow pulling back, trying to regroup. Those medium tanks starting to flounder in numbers. And when you start to get the better numbers, the thing is you have like a lot more tanks firing, so you're able to get much more tank kills. And this is probably favourable in this position for me. I'm probably going to be able to be getting better tank kills than he is and keep these tank numbers up. But now you can see he's trying to go for the base dive, and I'll sort of like try and go for his base at the same time. And now you can see he's trying to get back to his base because he knows I have the better tank numbers, and if we go for a base race then I will probably get the upper hand here because it's all about tank numbers. and now getting that extra ore refinery out. And you can see now he's decided to go for a pillbox, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that war factory down, because that's going to reduce his building speed. I'm not going to worry too much about the pillboxes, because they do minimal damage, especially when you've got heavy tanks. Those tank numbers though are going to certainly fall for Killaflow right now. And yeah, you can see those. He's going to be getting like slow tank production as well. And now that he's building pillboxes, he's not going to be remaking a war factory. So I'm just going to be getting better tank numbers hit from here on now. But you can see a lot of those heavy tanks now are on low HP, and maybe those pillboxes are doing a little bit of damage, a bit more damage than I thought they were. I'm going to try and take out that other war factory though, and you can see him just trying to get those pillboxes down. And now I'm going to go for the third war factory, and I think that's going to be certainly his last war factory. And after I get that down, it's going to make it a lot easier just to kill his main buildings. And now I'm going to go up again. You can see though my tank numbers are getting whittled down, and now we're going to go for that construction yard. And I think that might be his last construction yard, because I don't think he has another MCV. And now he said good game, because even though he's got a service depot, he's got no war factories, so he can't build another MCV. And you can see my tank numbers are built up, but still building up, and now I'll just be able to take out those pillboxes no problem. Overall, a tough series. If you'd like to see more of these, because I don't do many bests of fives or anything, obviously I do need very similar skilled players, but if you'd like to see any more of these best of five compilations or anything like that, do let me know in the comments. But yeah, tough game all in all. Obviously Killaflow is a very good opponent. We are quite equally matched, which is what made the games quite good. If I'd probably play again, I don't know, against some players, it might be good to maybe do some hybrid maps or something like that, something a little bit different, just to spice things up, a few small maps as well. But that was that. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching.